Chris Lado. Welcome to Lado Files.
Okay, welcome. Hopefully that worked. You can hear us.
I think so. Yeah. Hey, everyone.
Welcome.
What a day. What a day.
Yeah, amazing. We just we did a 45-minute show already on Martin Willis's channel here. If you know Martin, he's the longest running podcaster, or what did they say?
Focus on UFOs.
That focus on UFOs.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Because there's a lot of paranormal podcasts that they'll dip into the UFO field now and then, but this is the longest running one.
Excellent.
On just, UFOs.
So it was
UAP,
whirlwind.
UAP stuff. Sorry. Yeah.
So we did have so check out that video. After this, we have some interesting exclusive videos. Martin did a great job taking videos. I don't know what I was doing at the time, but I took no videos. I took a lot of pictures. But yeah, it was just a whirlwind day. And so we're just going to go through a post brief, kind of share our general experiences while it's fresh on our mind, and answer some questions. So thanks for being here. It was an amazing stream. That was by far a record for me. It was over 7,000 people. That's at least double the previous record, which was the NASA hearings.
That is amazing.
So huge demand, obviously. Yeah. There's huge demand for this. I also saw in my stream that there was 120,000 people watching the other stream, the original stream.
Really? Wow.
So big numbers for this, and that's my general impression from this, is that now people are going to know. I think now we're not going to have to explain it every time when you go and meet someone, and they've never heard of UAP, they've never heard of David Grush.
Yeah.
I really think after this that'll be different, and that's what I felt.
And just for the fact that, by the way, I got there at 5:40 a.m. today and actually ran into a lot of your fans.
Did you really? Excellent.
And a few of mine. Yes.
That was so cool meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really awesome. But the thing is, there is a demand, and the reason we know that is because there was 1,000 people trying to get into this.
There was
outside, inside the hallway, as far as you could see, was lined up with people. And we were lucky enough to be able to get in. We got in the room, and as I said on my show, we just barely got in the room. And the only way we got in the room is I caught someone trying to.
They did cut
They cut in front of us. Yeah. They cut in front of a bunch of people, and unfortunately, this really nice girl Sarah didn't get in that we're talking to, and a few other people didn't get in that were really nice. That were there at 5 a.m, and these people showed up at 7. But we were the last 3 in the door. My producer, Donna, Chris, and I were the last ones in.
This is a funny story, though, too, because last night at midnight, I think, when we finally finished up, and so I get a call from Martin, and Martin's calling me at midnight, what is it? And he says he has some intel that people are sleeping over. And I was pretty surprised. And so the deal is if more people show up, right? Because I guess you want to tell who was there overnight.
Randall Nickerson, the Ariel phenomenon, the Ariel school incident that happened in 1994. He did a wonderful film on that. He's known for a lot more, but that is his. It took him 12 years to put that film together. It's a theater quality film called The Ariel Phenomenon, about 65 school children that had an encounter with beings, and it's a really good movie. So I'm plugging it a little bit for him.
Yeah, it is an amazing movie.
Soul in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was there over the whole night, really, because he wanted to support the whistleblowers.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And so he called you then, I guess, to tell you more people were showing up.
Yeah.
Because we heard there's only 30 spots, and we learned this late.
I said I took my phone off silent. You can call me anytime if people start showing up. So at 5 a.m. is when he said, you better get down here. People were showing up. So I wanted to make sure we would get in, and there was not a lot of seats. And I think if they knew how many people were going to show up, they would have held it in a different venue. I do believe.
I have to assume, right? I mean,
you have to assume. Yeah. I heard people say that were there, that work there, that it was unbelievable. The amount of people that are here, it's unbelievable. They've never seen anything like it.
Everyone seemed really surprised, like how many people were there and how many people were interested and invested. And the staffer I talked to, he'd been there since January. He said, the intern, he said this is the most he's seen. He hasn't been there that long, but said it's the largest, hearing he's seen, at least demand for the hearing.
Right. Yeah. Any of these clips you feel like playing?
Well, yeah, we'll just finish that story though. So,
oh yes,
Martin, they're supposed to call me, and I was like, "Call me, I will wake up." And I don't think he called me actually. No, he did. He called me, and I did not wake up. So I got there.
called like 3 or 4 times. Text, hey Chris, hey Chris.
I saw the phones. Yeah. So yeah, thanks to Martin. I probably wouldn't have gotten in for sure. So yeah, it was amazing. And so yeah, let's show our first clip.
You want to have the oath? Is that what you'd like to do, or Burchett?
Let's start with the Burchett.
All right.
So we see in the hallway again. The hallway was awesome. I really enjoyed it. So many people coming around, and at about 15 minutes, 20 minutes prior to going in is Burchett, and we saw him in the hallway, and it was awesome. Just seeing him in person, you can tell he's passionate about it. He's serious. It was cool.
And when I was there at 6 o'clock, he showed up, and I actually got to interview him a little then. At 6 a.m. he was there, ready to go, and he came there to thank us for standing in line at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that was great, and here he is.
There's always, man. That's, as I said, in the Baptist church, we say the devil's trying to keep us from this. This is what happens. You're over the target. They get it. He's all right. They're over the target. They get it. They know we're over the target. And all these people get it. And they're not going away. This will just get bigger and bigger. And the American public, in the world, actually. I met some fella from Denmark. I mean, people are out here at 4:30 in the morning, dadgummit. Let's get to the bottom of it. This is just the start.
Jeremy, you got it. Sorry.
No, this is like Rare Rabbit, dude. They just fell into our trap. They did exactly what I knew they would do and what they've always done. They hid, they run from the American public. We're the taxpayers. We pay their salary. The military, the industrial war complex, does not run us. We run them. We've got to take control of it.
All right.
It is bipartisan, 100%. My best Jerry Moskowitz, hardcore Democrat. He's excellent. God gave him an incredible mind, and he's going to be awesome.
What do you say to that? We don't see a lot of bipartisanship on Capitol.
Because this isn't a partisan issue. This is bipartisan. Look, these people, we're sick of this, both parties, and we know our party's the leadership is lying to us about this thing. Let's get on with it.
What do you say to people who say that Grush is not credible?
He's a decorated veteran. That's what people in Washington, D.C. say, but I'll guarantee you in Tennessee and all these people, they don't say that. Because these gutless guys that sit behind a desk all day and order our kids into war, I have no time for that bunch. He's an American citizen. He's put up with a lot of nonsense to be here.
Last question. What do you say to those who say that everything he heard is secondhand and not firsthand like your other 2 witnesses?
Well, our other 2 witnesses are going to go with that. He's going to name names, and that's all we need. This is a start. Like I said, we're not going to bring in any little green men. We're not going to bring a dadgum flying saucer in there, but we're going to bring the people in, and they're going to swear under oath. This is the first time that's going to happen.
All right.
It's a start. It's a start. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, dude. You had very much credibility. Oh, thank you, brother. God bless you. Go get him.
I think the key out of that is the first time they're doing this under oath.
Under oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said it's a start. That's the point. That's kind of what I felt here. Is now it's gonna change. I think.
Yeah.
I mean that's the hope at least. There's definitely momentum for sure, and he's passionate about it.
Yeah. No, and last night during the show, basically the show that I did later on with Chris joining me, my own show, not the one he was on last night, and I was on with him, but about 7:30 or something like that on my show when it was live, Burchett tweeted out that he basically said that he's not going to be chairing the meeting.
Yeah, and Luna was not either.
Right.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll just run this real quick clip because he talks about it a little bit right
What happened last night? There was some stuff going around on Twitter. It seems like the hearing's moving forward still.
We're still doing the hearing. Let's don't let that be a distraction. So the bottom line is we've got 3 great witnesses, and we need transparency. We need the government to trust us. Quit saying we need more money to study this. Look, NASA's had it. The Pentagon's had it. Every defense department has had it. Turn loose the files. American public can handle it. I think it's time to release the files.
Any additional pushback in the past?
Yes, that question. But yeah.
So he didn't really want to answer, is what it sounded like.
Yeah. And when I asked him, I was talking to him this morning, interviewing him at 6 o'clock, and he didn't want to answer it then. He said, let's not even talk about that. So I don't know exactly what happened. I heard there, it was, may have had to do with the general at the airport down in.
That's what I heard, just as a rumor, right? Oh, you told me the rumor.
Yeah, it's a rumor. It's out there. I don't know what it really is, or if we'll ever know. But it doesn't matter. He was still there, and he was a voice there today.
Yeah, he definitely was. I mean, for sure. It didn't seem like it impacted. Maybe it would have been a different opening statement, but I thought it was fine.
No, he did a good job. I think everyone there, even the person that took over for him, I thought he did an excellent job too. He had, some good points that he made.
Yeah, and did you in that video when he fist bumps at the end? He says, "Go get him." He's fist bumping me. I was like, "Thanks, sir." And he gives me a fist bump. He's like, "Go get him," and I was like, "Yes, sir." Like, I'll get him, or I'll try. It was very. It was inspiring. For sure. They're serious.
Yeah. So, I forgot. I'm going to load up. You want to talk a little bit more with him, and I got a video I want to load up. Jeremy and you.
Oh, okay. All right. Here, let's see what we have. A few others here. We already played this on the other channel, but I really wanted to share this. Thanks to Matthew for showing up, and I think it should be how we approach it. I think. So I just want to play this clip.
Thank you so much for being willing to talk.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry to the listeners for the background noise here. Nothing I can do about it. So, your name, please?
My name is Father Matthew Gray.
Welcome to the show. Thank you. And I want to find out, why are you here at the UAP hearing?
Because if this is true, which I personally believe it is true, this is life-changing. This is something that is not an American issue. It's a global issue. It's a human issue.
Yes.
And truth is truth. Truth needs to be known as much as anything else. We have a right to know and kind of delve into the implications of it. And this affects everything.
Right. And so I know you're not speaking for the church.
Right. Not speaking for the church. Just came here on my own volition. I am, of course, Catholic priest, and I wanted to know more about the hearing.
And what do you think about what the Pope has said over the years about the possibility of extraterrestrial life?
The church has always been open to it. Anything that exists does exist because God created it. So why would he not have created non-human intelligences other than ourselves? It further shows his goodness, his creativity, and the goodness of God. So the church has always been open to the possibility. In fact, Pope St. John Paul II was doing an interview, in a greeting line, and a little girl came up to him, and she asked him straight out, Holy Father, do aliens exist? And he could have said no. He could have said, oh, that's silly, but he just stopped what he was doing, turned to the little girl, and said, don't ever forget, they're created by God and should be loved also. I thought that's beautiful. That's the essence of Christianity, right? It's the essence of our faith, to love one another and to treat each other with respect. So I think I'm looking forward to the church talking out more openly, especially as we ourselves learn more about it.
Now, the observatories. The Catholic Church has amazing observeratories.
We do, yes.
One in Rome and one in the United States. And do you know anything about, have you ever heard anything about, I forget the name of the father that's the astronomer.
I forget his name too. It's 2006 and 2016, two different statements that came out about, if aliens do exist, then that just further shows God's creativity and his goodness. that it is possible. So it does not rule that out at all.
And I think there was something about baptizing them too. Did I hear that once?
I hadn't heard that one. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for coming. And I'm glad you have the curiosity.
Absolutely. Stay curious, and thank you for asking.
You bet.
Yeah.
What a great guy. And he watches the shows.
He does.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just a great message. You know, I've heard a lot that there's a Christian element that has kept this secret,
Right.
you know, because they're scared that it'll upend
It's going
the
to
religious foundations.
The foundation of religion will be crushed, and
But you look, the
but
Pope
no.
is fine with it.
Yeah.
I always thought it was suspicious, actually, that the Vatican was fine with it so many
They do
years.
have great observatories.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Um,
And there's a rumor about, I don't know if you ever heard the rumor, that they had spotted something that's supposed to be coming this way by, I think it's 2037, I believe it's supposed to be here. This is like, now maybe.
This is from the Vatican observatories.
Yes.
No, I haven't heard of this.
You haven't heard that? Yeah. It should be something to be looked into, because it's someone that actually told me about this was, I believe, in the government. So I don't know.
Yeah, that would mess up a lot of people's retirement plans.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
But awesome to Father Gray. Thank you, Matthew, for coming. And again, it's support that comes from you guys. You know, really. You guys push us. You push us, and then we push them. You know, and so appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're standing there in line, and you want to set this up with.
Yeah. So we're all, we've been waiting there hours. Some of us more hours than others. I got there an hour, I think, after you. But we're in the line, and then all of a sudden we see this commotion, or hear a commotion, and there's this cameras coming down, this giant entourage. There's
all these lights.
Yeah, lights, cameras, and I'm looking through and I see like George Knapp, and he's in a suit, and I'm like, oh hey George, and Jeremy Corbell's there. They're rushing down like like they're the ones
just like walking through, like doing the walk.
It was cool. But I said, hey Jeremy, and he came over and gave me a hug, and I hadn't met him before, so it was cool. It was cool that that he knew me and said hi, and I appreciated it.
Someone was doing, like they said, it was a cock walk.
Hey, what's up? Hey guys. See you guys.
I wish I filmed it a little bit longer. I just got the film.
He just came over and
lights and everything.
Oh, the entourage. And then he got to sit right behind. You notice he was right behind.
Right. Yeah, he was on. They were on the camera the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to ask to go up there because on the live stream, everybody said, "Where are you?" And we were in the very back next to the door.
Yeah. Last one's in.
And I asked if I could go up there to those seats, and they said no, they're for witnesses that were kicked out or that were blocked.
Well, there were vacant seats in the front row.
I think those were the 3 original other witnesses. Right, because you had 6 is what they said.
Yeah, 6 originally.
So I don't know if those were. Anyway, it seemed like it said witness on it.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions I asked Burchett this morning when I was interviewing him, when my camera was not recording, and I asked him. I said, "What happened to the 3 other witnesses?" And he said various things came up where they didn't feel comfortable. So he didn't really get into any detail about that.
So 3 other witnesses. I wonder if we'll find out ever who those people were, or will they come out at the Senate hearing?
That's right. I wonder if that, or if whatever the reason is that they didn't show up, will change because of this, perhaps.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah, he called out so many. He said NASA, he called them out, the DOD. Yeah, and that was the general impression that we talked about on your channel. Is it seems like from the staffers, I did a tour afterwards with Congressman Fry's staff, and they gave we had a full meeting with their, I would say, oversight staffer, and he's probably early 30s, seemed like a very intelligent guy. And he started asking, detailed questions on this. Where should we be looking? What were the main points that came out of what were the main points for you coming out of the hearing that Congressman Fry should look into? you know, and basically the main points I told him were, we need to protect the whistleblowers. I mean, 100%. David Grush, in the stream, they said there's no new information. I thought there was some new information. And one of the new information is, what were the reprisals against David Grush,
Yes, yeah.
right? Did they just close the door in his face? You know, that's not so bad. Or did they threaten to kill him and his family? And it sounds like they threatened to kill him and his family, or at least
It sounded.
he said he was,
It sounded,
he said, yes,
It
I
was
feared for
something-
my life. It wasn't like, well, yeah, no. Did you fear for your life? Luna asked, and he said, yes, I did fear for my life. So
Yeah.
that was new information and
pretty incredible.
pretty incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could always just say I feared for my life, but, you know, but
And then the
that's
other
a big
point
deal.
that Grush said, and we said this on my show just a little while ago, about when he was asked what type of bodies would there be
Yeah,
in
the
the
biologics.
biologics, and he said very loudly, non-human,
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty strong.
yeah. I mean, their demeanor was amazing to me. You know,
Yeah.
I was really amazed. I mean, Fravor's just so comfortable. It's like he's been
Yeah.
briefed so many times in those rooms.
Yeah.
And Grush was just like, honestly, he seemed relieved. That was the impression I got from
Yeah.
Grush, is like, he was just happy to finally get this information out there so that they can stop trying to kill him. You know, because now if they kill him,
Yeah.
now it's even that much more serious, because now he was on there saying, I saw this stuff. Now he ends up suiciding himself.
Yeah.
That looks really, really bad to the mainstream.
So
So
they say that the best protection of a whistleblower is to talk.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they would kill you to withhold the information. So when you release the information,
Yeah.
you know, killing you just makes it worse. And,
Yeah.
and so it really seemed like he was just just relieved to get that out. And he's finally here and he's saying it, and he's telling the people, you know, yes, I fear for my life. These guys are bastards and we're going to go after them. You know, that was the impression I got. And Fravor as well was just, yeah. And Graves, all of them.
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
And so look for CNN. You may see
Yes.
either one of us, most likely you more, because they talked to you for a long time. So
This is great too, because we're standing in line, and over comes an entourage, you know, big camera, lights, and they come up to Martin. Are you Martin? You know, it's like, yes, I'm Martin. Martin Willis. I don't know. I have a very large YouTube channel, and they say,
podcast.
yeah, they said, do you have a podcast? Yes. We need to interview you. Okay. And while they're miking him up, you know, while they hand him the microphone, I actually jumped in front. I grabbed the microphone and videoed. No, but while they're miking him, I say, yeah, I have a YouTube channel as well. 100,000, almost 100. I said 100,000. I don't know.
You did say 100.
I said 100,000.
Yeah.
I didn't even say close to 100,000.
Yeah.
I just said 100,000. And
It'd be really hard to go out within a bar, you know, when we were young and stuff like that. You know, if I was flirting with a girl, it would just take right over.
I will say I waited till you were fully mic'd. I was like, okay, I'm not going to interfere with this. And,
Yeah.
and there was delay. So, and they said, yeah, we'll interview you after. And actually, yeah, did. So we both did interviews with CNN. I have a
Yeah.
great picture of you from that as well.
Oh yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
You look like a deer in the headlights, actually.
I probably do.
Huh.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked when I heard who it was. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little shocking, but that it was CNN. And one of the reasons is because they really haven't been covering it.
Yeah.
And someone said on my stream that they just saw something on CNN. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's good. My hope is that, you know, mainstream media will actually take this really seriously now and start getting it out there. So, you know, more and more people know about it.
Well, we even talked to other, not even mainstream press, but DC press. Remember that girl came up
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
and it seemed like, yeah, it's the interest is just growing. The interest is growing for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's just going to. I think we're going to see within the next. I mean, the last 2 weeks have been incredible. They seem
Yeah.
to be, and you know, who knows? I've had my hopes up before in this the UFO world, and things have not gone anywhere. But hopefully, this time, it's just going to keep the momentum and move forward. We'll see.
I can't imagine that it doesn't grow from here.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, you just felt it in the Congress. You know, Ross Coulthard, he mentioned that before, that the Congress is motivated, and you really just felt that even the staffers, not even on the subcommittee, were interested in this. Everybody's interested. It really seems like, where before they just couldn't think it's possible, it seems like now if someone stands up there never mind all the other thousands or hundreds of people that have said these things. But if they stand up there in an official capacity and under oath, I think it makes a difference. It does make a difference.
Would you mind if I talked about the video I'm going to put on my channel tomorrow?
No, sure. Yeah, please. Yeah.
So tomorrow night at 8 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., I am going to show a perspective of being in the room. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the filming, I filmed the entire almost 2, I think it was about 2 hours.
It was over 2 hours. Yeah.
Over 2 hours.
15.
So I filmed the whole thing. And basically, you're going to be seeing like the back of heads of the witnesses as they talk, sometimes their profile, but just so you get a perspective of what it was like when we were there. It may be boring if you've already watched the hearing, but if you haven't seen the hearing, then you'll see what it was like for Chris and I to sit in the back row. And it wasn't really bad at all. It was actually very interesting.
Yeah.
So that'll be on my channel. Podcast UFO Live is my YouTube channel, and that'll be 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Thursday. And so check that out. And I'm going to premiere it, so I'll be in chat, and the chat room will be active as well.
Can you put a link in the comments, please, for them?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. I haven't created the stream, so I'll just put it in my channel.
I was also impressed by how many congressmen were there. And the quality of questions, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we had more names named. Burchett said he'll be there, Grush will be there, and he's willing to name names, and he was, but he couldn't legally say any names. The only names that came out were Boeing was from AOC. She called out Boeing, and then I heard no other names. So that was interesting.
That's right. And it was kind of unfortunate that, David Grush couldn't answer a lot of the questions that he was asked today. There was so many questions and it seems to me that they would know the type of questions they were asking him. He wouldn't be able to answer, but I think they wanted to make the point that he couldn't answer these questions.
Yeah.
Because, and for him to reiterate that the information has been given and this is, but I can't talk about it. When he had the closed hearing that he had, the closed testimony that he had, he did reveal a lot of those things that we can't know about, because they're classified.
I want to show this again here, or the oath, if we haven't shown it yet.
Appreciate you all being here today and look forward to your testimony. I remind the witnesses that we've read your written statements and will appear in full and give a record. Please try to limit your oral.
We got to talk about that.
That's right. So when they came in, it was almost like there was I was expecting a bell or something, or in the military, when the ding ding ding, when the important people come in the room, everyone stands to attention. You immediately know when the meeting's starting because they make you do something.
Yeah.
In this case, it was like they were halfway in the room, already there, and I was like, "Oh wait, it's them," And then it was just so quiet. I spoke up, and I felt like something needed to be said, so I just said, "Thanks, you guys are heroes."
Thank you. You're heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for doing that. That was great.
I didn't know if I'd shake their hands after,
Yeah.
And I think it just felt like the moment. We were there to say something. I felt like we can clap. I don't know. It was exciting.
And the type of people that were sitting in the audience, that they're I would say that 90% of the people that were sitting in our area, not the press, were really, really into the topic. But there were some people, I think, that were just there, just absolutely curious about it, but not really knowing much about the topic.
Was those the people next to you that stole their seats?
All those people that stole the place? I
don't know.
They were looking at their Facebook the whole time.
They were like 20 years old and in suits. It was interesting.
And they just weaseled.
And then they left. They were like.
Luckily, they did leave. So some of the people that didn't make it in, and one of them was a fan of my show that he sat right beside me.
Okay, so he had waited out there for over an hour
and a half or so.
Just waiting, hoping that someone leaves. That's cool. Yeah. and it was free and everything. I mean, that
Yeah. Yeah.
it was interesting. Yeah.
But I mean, I think about it now. You came all the way over from Portugal. I came up from South Carolina, and we came so close to not getting in the door. And then the people behind us, you know, I know that didn't make it in. Also, the woman, Sarah's from South Carolina as well.
She drove 7 hours.
Drove 7.5 hours to get here. Yeah. And didn't make it in. So I just feel really, really, really lucky. And especially when I walked in the hall and saw the hundreds of people outside of that didn't make it in.
Yeah, because it went all the way down the hallway, the second hallway. I mean,
and you did hear the number was over 1,000 people total outside. And
that's what Sarah said when she came in. There was over 1,000 people outside the building, not even inside.
So that's the interest in this topic now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge. I would be shocked if it doesn't go to mainstream news. Although I've been shocked countless times in researching this, but I can't imagine that now they won't. You know, CNN, they did all the interviews, and you'll notice Burchett, when he did that interview that we both recorded, at the end he says, "Thank you for covering this." You know, he thanks the guy by name, so he knows him, and he knows that guy is taking his time out to cover this as a mainstream kind of topic.
Right.
It seems like.
And he thanked us. He thanked the people that stood in line. He was very, very thankful. And and here's a statement here. Yeah, starting to make it into mainstream news, and it's about time. You know, in my opinion, it's the biggest question we could ever answer. Are we alone?
Yes.
You know, one of them. What happens when we die, and are we alone? You know, the two big questions.
Yeah, we can talk to this if you guys want to ask about the SCIF. So it's a special compartmented information facility. I could ask we could ask Jenner here. He knows more about SCIF and SAP-A, but it's a secret facility. But there's different levels of secrecy. And so certain levels of, certain SAPs require a different facility than a SCIF. I don't know the little intricate security details or whatever, but it was interesting to me that at the very beginning of the hearing, Burchett said that they did not have a SCIF available, immediately after. So they would do, the idea is you do the unclassified and then you do the classified version in a SCIF. And we can have a guest on the show if he wants. Is F-16 pilot, great friend of mine, amazing guy, super smart. Have you ever seen a UAP?
I've never seen a UAP.
Okay, and he is an airline pilot.
Have you ever looked for one?
Not intentionally.
Yeah.
But I mean, I look around.
Big open sky when you're up there.
Had you heard of this before I came and crashed your house?
No. I mean, not at a level that I really paid attention to. Was until you
crashed your house.
Yeah,
until I crashed this place. So yeah, I think Jenner, basically didn't know about the topic, and so I think hopefully now you will.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you this: was there ever a time that you know of anyone that saw something and they didn't report it or anything like that?
No, not honestly. In my
I had never heard of it either. I've never.
I bet you if you asked around, you may. I mean, when you start asking pilots.
Yeah, I'm sure there. I mean, it's. I'll say that there's certainly things that I've seen that were, at first glance seemed weird, but normally, after sort of scratching my head about it a little bit, it seemed pretty explicable. But yeah, I mean, I certainly don't doubt that there are things that people see that are not really talked about or aren't easily explainable.
Mm. So what do you wanted to ask him about?
Yeah, so the difference of SCIF? Do you know the difference between what are they talking a SCIF and a SAP and all that?
A security expert, but as I understand it, like the SCIF is the area where you can talk about top secret information.
Okay.
And then but that's different than a SAP.
Right.
Where you can talk about a SAP. So the SAPs are even more compartmentalized than that, and they can fall at different security levels. So you could have a top secret SAP, you could have a secret SAP. To talk about a top secret SAP, you'd have to be inside of a SCIF. And then to talk about like a secret SAP, you could be inside of a less secure facility, but it would still have to be a SAP F. So it couldn't be a normal secret facility.
It has to be
a secret
specifically
specific to that program, which is called a SAP F. And there can be SAP Fs that are secret or top secret, and a top secret SAP F you'd have to talk about in a SCIF, which I would just think, you know, if there are SAPs that are relevant to these, you know, the things you're talking about, to the UAPs, that they'd probably be in a, if they're, you know, that secret, that they'd probably be in a SAP inside of a SCIF.
Yeah, so that could be the issue, is like these programs that they're talking about are SAP programs, and then it doesn't work inside of just a normal SCIF. You know, that could be some example. There's so many layers of this security BS.
So many ways to hide.
There's so many ways to stonewall. There's so many ways to slow it. Exactly. And that just felt like one of them is, we don't have a SCIF that you guys can talk in, even though, you know, this is necessary to pass this sort of information. So
thanks for that great question.
Any other questions for Jenner? Well,
I do.
No.
Thank
we'll
you.
See.
That was great. Thanks. Yeah. So I do want to bring this one up, and thanks for the donation. Why won't Bob Lazar go under oath? Can I talk to that?
It's up to you. I know I tend to, you know, proponent, I guess, of Bob Lazar, or more open-minded to his claims, and you are not. So I know from the beginning he's been against it.
And then a lot of people don't like me for that reason, but I'm you know, by trade, I'm like an appraiser, and when I go into appraise a collection and I see that there's a fake in the collection, then I really have to examine every single thing that's in the collection to make sure it's right. And I have kind of a bad attitude, and I have the same attitude about people. And when someone lies about something, I have a hard time trusting what else they say. And he totally lied about his education. There's so many ways to find that out. I happen to know someone that works at MIT and can does records research, and she did a deep dive looking for Bob Lazar, who claims he went to MIT. And there's absolutely no way, with the redundancy, that he ever stepped foot inside of that college. And also, you know, I mean, he was asked in a public forum, what is the square outside of MIT? And if you ever went to lunch there one time, you know, it's Kendall Square. He had no idea. So in other words, he lied about MIT. That's factual. He did lie about it. He was in the bottom third of his class in high school. Not exactly a candidate for Caltech or MIT. Anyway, so he lied about his education. Should we believe everything else he says? That's all I'm going to go with that. But the question is, why wouldn't he go under oath? He did answer that. Jeremy Corbell put him on the phone with David Fravor recently on Jeremy Corbell's podcast or whatever it is, basically. And he's basically says, why the UFO community has stumped on him for years. Why would he give them anything? That's kind of Bob Lazar's answer to it. And if he really if he really did what he said he did, he would have no problem going in and testifying. But so that's my opinion.
Yeah. So that's his argument, is he didn't go under oath because he's not telling the truth. You know, that's what Martin believes. But like you said, that the counter argument is that he's been dumped on so much by the UFO community. Why should he help them? Which is he helping the UFO community, or
dumped on? Yeah. We didn't dump on him. We just want the truth. You know, there's so much out there that is so amazing. Then why would we want something that's not factual? Yeah. You know, and then people will say, well, the element 151, he knew about that. Well, you could pick another number out there if you want to up the chart. And then maybe it'll be discovered, maybe it won't. But anyway,
I mean, I think we just need new people to come out, you know. Like Bob Lazar has given a lot of his testimony. I would assume all of it by this point.
He's talked on shows and things like that. He's been on, you know, George Knapp started back in 1980-ish or something like that. I can't remember exactly when. And if you ever watch the body language panel, you watch the one on Bob Lazar, you'll see that his story, he does change his story over time.
Yeah.
And people keep saying he never changed his story. Well, by golly, he did. He does.
Well, if you look at these witnesses, I mean, they were basically as credible as you can get. You know?
Yes.
I mean,
every one of them.
Yeah. So why even bring in like someone like Bob Lazar, which is immediately going to just draw controversy, you know? Whereas with these guys, you know, there's nothing about their credibility that anyone can even bring up eventually. So it's not even part of the discussion. Yeah. So we can kind of skip that whole thing where they just attack the person and everybody stops thinking about the actual topic. And so here it seems like they're just amazingly credible. And that was Tim Burchett's point, is we want to bring up the credible witnesses and just show the world, essentially, and brief the world their story under oath. So yeah, I guess why bring in controversial witnesses when you have such credible witnesses? And then hopefully that will allow the firsthand knowledge. That's what everybody wants. Obviously, we all want the firsthand knowledge. And it sounded like when they asked, will these people come out? And Grush said they're concerned. They will definitely speak to you in a secret area. They're not going to come out publicly yet, but hopefully they will in the future.
So here's a point. Now, this is kind of a rumor. One of the Vatican's observatories is called Lucifer. Well, it had a nickname that was similar, and they changed it. People were calling it Lucifer, and they changed it to Lucy, standing for something. I forget exactly what it means. But I mean, if you look into that, you'll see that it's not actually Lucifer. That would be quite a name for a Vatican
Lucifer.
observatory.
I would be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm just looking again. I mean, it's amazing. 2,000 people in here. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes.
That is a record as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it should be. It was quite a day.
That was an amazing. I mean, it really felt momentous. Who else did? Daniel Sheehan. I got to talk with him.
Attorney. Harvard attorney Daniel Sheehan. He was there.
I got to tell Leslie Kane that I read half her book on the way over on the plane. On surviving death. I'll read the second half on the way back. It's an amazing book.
Yes.
I met Sean Ryan. Is that his name? The #2 podcaster.
Was he there?
He was the guy behind us. Yeah.
He was.
I pointed it out. That was him. You said it.
But I said, and then he said, no, it wasn't.
That was him. Yeah.
He was teasing me.
He must have been teasing you. Did he say, no, it's not me?
Yeah.
Because you walked off and I was like, oh, I guess it's not him. And then I was just talking to him and it was
so
him.
Funny.
No, it was him.
I knew I recognized him.
Yeah, he was. And yeah,
that's
I don't want to call people out.
Too bad because I had something to say to him because I had a connection to make for him. And
I thought you knew because you put me in contact with him, or you said, "Oh, you got to meet him." There's Sean.
I said it was him, and then I asked him if it was him. He said no.
and so he was in the line behind us, and he wasn't there. Yeah, and then he got a phone call, and then he ended up, I think, with next to Jeremy Corbell, and he was sitting.
He weaseled his way in there. Hope you're listening, Sean.
He was very nice. He was a nice guy. We talked about podcasting, and it was cool to meet him.
Why was the former CIA director Sharp sitting in the front row? Really? I was unaware of that.
I don't know.
Yeah. And the Admiral Gallaudet that I interviewed recently, he was supposed to be there. I didn't see him. So, interesting. No, I didn't know that.
At the end, we got to shake hands. I got to meet Ryan Graves. I got a picture with him. That was awesome to meet him in person. And then, meeting David Grush was awesome. And he knew, he said, oh, you're the Viper driver. He said, you're a Viper driver. The F-16 you call the Viper, actually, is the name of the fighter. And so, he recognized me, knew who I was. So that was cool. That was really cool.
I got that clip of both of us getting to meet him here.
Okay. Yeah, let's show that.
Yeah, here it is.
Excuse me. Yeah, excellent. Amazing. Really good. Thank you. So awesome. Hey, David. I just want to thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. Great job.
Yeah, so that was fun meeting him. Just for a brief second, but I mean, they went scooting out the door pretty quickly.
Ryan? No, I went back in and Graves was still in there. He was still in there talking to people. Yeah, taking pictures.
That's too bad. Yeah. I've talked to him through email. Never talked to him in person. But yeah.
Yeah, he hung around there for a while, taking pictures. I didn't get to shake David Fravor's hand. I would have liked to thank him.
Yeah, he went out really quickly.
Yeah, he left right away. I saw AOC was out there talking to a lot of people afterwards.
I tried to I said, hey, can I take your picture for a friend? I have a friend that's a big fan of hers. And
she said no?
She just kind of scooted and walked up the ramp. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's an amazing day. Really was. And you're going to go to the next hearing, you said. Will you come down?
If there's another hearing, I'm here again. It was just, I could never
meeting
expect
everybody
it to be. I could never expect it to be like today. I mean, today was surreal to me. I mean, it was just amazing in so many different ways. Much more. I got much more out of it than I expected, in general, I think. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Just putting, yeah, without a doubt.
Well, I love the fact that you came here, and I didn't say this last night, but the only reason I'm here in Washington is because I woke up in the morning last week and I saw an email from Chris saying that he was coming to the hearing, and I said, by golly, if he's coming from Portugal,
from Lisbon,
yeah, Lisbon. If he's flying from Portugal, then why can't I come up from Hilton Head, South Carolina?
Nice.
So here I am.
A lot of people flew in. There was a lot of people here from out of state.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy that came from his RV and from Phoenix to get here, and got here in the middle of the night. Yeah.
I'm glad you were here because it really was just felt like a teamwork.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah,
it's been
it really worked out well. At the Senate hearing, man, it's going to be awesome. I can't imagine, how they're how to redo this one or what will happen for the next one.
They have to know that the next time they do this, they have to choose a venue.
A much larger venue.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of ridiculous, really. There was only like 30 seats, available seats, something like that, where we were. For the public,
they have 1,000 people there and they had 30 seats.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are your thoughts on Travis Taylor and the secret of Skinwalker Ranch? What are your thoughts, I guess?
Well, Travis has been on my show a few times, and he's a nice guy. He's extremely educated. He has multiple PhDs, and he kind of talks like a Southern talk, and some people like say, well, we can't take him seriously, whatever, but he's really a brilliant guy. And he was actually, he did some work with the government on UFOs that he was keeping secret. And I can't remember any of the details. I'm sorry about that. So I think
he was on the UAP task force.
That's what it was.
That was, yes. I was surprised to hear that he was on so many of the programs, I lived in Spain for a while, and they dub over all the languages.
Yeah.
And what you have is you have the same actor playing the voice of all these actors.
They do that in Russia too.
And the same. Yeah. So you hear the same the same guy effectively plays everyone.
Yeah. It's really funny.
The one guy that's famous.
Or even the women's talking, and he does the voices. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the the impression I got, So it's just weird that his name is on all of the things. I don't like that to have single source of information. I really think that decentralized is the best way. So I guess I have no issue. The issue I was very surprised to see that he was on Skinwalker Ranch. He was on this TV show, which is cool. But then, meanwhile, at the same time, he was like secretly on the UAP task force.
That's right. He wasn't telling anyone.
He was. Yeah. He was a scientist on the UAP task force.
Yes.
Which I guess if you're going to pick people, you want people with experience. But yeah, I guess that's my impression. I didn't meet him. He seemed nice and definitely knowledgeable. He brought an interesting point on gimbal about the temperature differences and the pixels, which, now that I think back, putting two and two together here, Grush did mention that when he talked about gimbal, he had experts analyzing the pixel densities. And now I just thinking of that is Travis brought that argument in a detailed way to the Mega UFO the Mega UFO conference that was last year in Vernal, Utah in May. And he gave a briefing where it's pretty interesting briefing. I actually didn't look into it later, but it was I think 20 or 30 minute briefing about how he looked into this analysis on the gimbal and did all this analysis on the pixel weights, and saying that it actually couldn't be possible to not be, or it is anomalous based on this new technique.
No,
so that was interesting. Yeah, I guess. And that was on UAP task force. So that would make sense that Grush is getting information from, it seems to relate. Yeah, because Grush said when he, in his interview with Ross Coulthard, he said that he had some analysis done on the pixels, et cetera, density, et cetera, of the gimbal, and it's anomalous, but could be a weather phenomenon.
Right.
Basically.
So I guess the weakest part that I could ever say about Grush would be something that probably was maybe fed to him. And that is, he talks about the cover-up starting in 1930, and that supposedly involved a Italian case of a crashed UFO, and supposedly that was, now I don't know for sure, but supposedly that was some type of hoax, and so, but he may have been fed that type of information.
Well, I've heard that as well. I was doing an interview for Hestalin Lights, and
oh yes,
yeah, and basically they argued that it was it's a hoax, that this 1933 case in Italy is a hoax. They showed that the documents were shown to be forged, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my whole point is, if you can keep a clandestine crash retrieval program secret, I'm pretty sure you can forge a few documents, or think one step further and put out forged documents that are obviously or could be found as forged. I'm just saying that saying it's a hoax right out, it reminds me of the think fast, think slow kind of thinking where, oh, what about this case from 1933? And the UFO community says that's a hoax immediately, right? Just discounts it. So I would tend to believe Grush in this case, if he's seen the case, and I would, in that case, I would lean on that what they're seeing is probably could be disinformation, or it could be on purpose presented as a hoax.
Yeah. There's been a lot of that over the years, actually. You think of the MJ12 documents and things like that. There's a lot of that. It's kind of like some things mixed in, make it seem credible. And it's all disinformation.
That's what Grush said, right? It's a sophisticated disinformation campaign, and he said it's a mix of actual information, right, mixed with the perfect form of crazy. I think he said, and so it creates it. So I would say that could easily be part of the disinformation campaign.
And if anyone wants to look into the Paul Benowitz case, that's a very interesting thing with disinformation and Richard Doty and all that. A very fascinating case. Sad and fascinating. Same time.
Yeah, Air Force OSI, like literally the operation of special investigation. Air Force OSI was named in the Senate Act, the UAP Disclosure Act. They listed out like Department of Energy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, and then it goes U.S. Air Force OSI. Like names them. It was like this unit. So there's definitely something with Air Force OSI, or they look very guilty, obviously, because of Doty. I mean, named in the Disclosure Act.
Yeah, someone put this. Is this? I don't know.
It's a psyop. Is that true? Really hates the hearing. Yeah.
Is that what they're? Where is this coming from? I'd like to know more about that from that person. Where is that information?
Well, that's the argument, right? Is the false flag. So basically, it's a threat, and we need to organize against it.
Oh, so they think it's a money thing,
or it's what I've heard is the argument is in order to take over the world, again, I guess, is take over the world again. Is they fake an alien invasion using advanced technology, holograms, etc. It looks extremely real. And they fake it in order to instill support and mobilize some sort of global order to unify under their new, world order. That's what I've heard is the false flag. Yeah. But how does that ever end? Couldn't you false flag the false flag? So I say here's an alien. It's a real alien body. It's a spaceship. You can go and test it, and you could always just say this is fake. This is a false flag. They planted this, the U.S. government created this alien body. They created this spaceship just to trick us. So I tend to not believe that, I guess.
Yeah. Here's a comment here. David Fravor thinks Bob Lazar is legit, and that is true. And there's one name I have to name, and that's Jeremy Corbell. Jeremy has been friends with David Fravor for a long time, and Jeremy Corbell is the one that did the Bob Lazar movie. And so there you go. That's a connection right there with that.
Yeah, I do have to say, though, the science, the potential science implications that Bob Lazar briefs are quite exceptional and testable. right? So he mentions one part of his theory, or what he explains, is that our solar system actually is a Sol 3. I think, or we're on Sol 3, but we have a very small solar system with a single sun. And
oh, you mean the level? Are you talking about?
No, he talks about that. Basically, why don't we have these amazing heavy materials, right? Why don't we have 115? That was the original thing, was the element 115. If you can add a proton to it and it goes to 116, it will automatically auto decay to back to 115, and it will release an antimatter particle, right? That's how his whole propulsion system works.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
What he's explaining is these heavy materials aren't in our solar system because our solar system doesn't have enough atomic weight, essentially, to create these. You don't have the large enough stars to create these sort of heavy materials.
Right.
Is the argument.
Yes.
So what that would mean is out in the surrounding solar system, we should have different types of solar systems, right? And to me, that's quite compelling, because he does give these future testable theories. You know, like 115, he said, okay, you can't, 115 will be an element and it will be stable, right? And so far we haven't found stable 115, but if we find stable 115, will that prove Bob Lazar is correct? You know, that if he found stable 115?
No.
Yeah.
It's like, in my opinion, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it really, you know, you could argue that, and I understand where you're going. You're kind of trying to make something fit.
Yeah.
If you ask me, you know, I mean,
well, no, I guess I appreciate his scientific the theories he proposed. They seem to make intuitive sense, I guess, in my own speculation or understanding of the universe. Like my whole spectral theory of the dimensions, etc. This would make sense. Like we should be surrounded by elements in some sort of formation that would replicate the sort of elements that we see when we look into actual materials. You know, when you look down, if you zoom in with a microscope onto a metal, you know, you should see a certain lattice, right? A metal lattice that makes it a solid. And then you should see like free floating electrons, right? That's why metals are conductive, right? Because their electrons are free flowing in the clouds. So the argument is, if you look at this on a grander scale, it seems to kind of match. So is there enough things that Bob Lazar said that will come true, you know, and then would that make it correct? I don't know. I think Bob Lazar has given all the information he can give, and we just need more people to validate what he said. You know, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
okay.
not buying Bob Lazar. I'm just sorry. This is right now on CNN.
Let's
my
see
producer just sent it right now. So military veterans warn Congress UFOs are a national security problem, says government is too secretive about them. That is what is playing right now. My producer just sent it to me by text. Took a snap of the TV and sent it. Right.
So it's already getting out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it really felt like it was gonna, like that was just a bomb that was dropped.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Were you just gonna put something up?
No. So
all right.
That's it. Yeah. What do you guys think? Were you impressed? Sounds like maybe on Twitter they don't like it. It's a psyop, but I don't know, on the stream I just saw positive comments for the most part. Yeah, finally.
You know, it's when you're right there, like Chris and I were, you know, maybe we're too close to it to really, you know, like you can see it from the outside, you may have a different perspective, but when we were there, it was really amazing. I don't know. It's hard to put into words. It was just an amazing day. Again, a career highlight in the UFO world.
Was it James Clapper sitting next to? I didn't notice.
I did not see James Clapper there today.
Yeah.
So I saw someone that could have looked like him in a stretch, but I didn't know if he was next to George Knapp.
I was surprised also to learn that the Congress people are here 4 days a week. You know, pretty much every week is how long they're supposed to be here. And Burchett was there at 5:30. You said, right? I think
he was there just before 6.
Okay, just before 6.
And he was there to see what was happening.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was It was a lot of, I was impressed by the level of effort that the Congress people put into it.
Yeah.
Like, and you look on TV and you just see people sitting at this chair and you don't really think about that they're actual real people and that they had to actually, go there and sit there for 2 hours, listen. But I was impressed with the level of effort. Like I felt like they were working hard. Yes. They were engaged. Yeah.
So, and I didn't see, people sitting there on their phones either. They were paying attention. So, and I really do think that they really are sincere in looking into this. It's not just, that was the same question.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks to everyone. So generous today. I really appreciate it. By far, we'll pay for the trip and make it possible. So it really helps. Thanks a lot.
Did you fly one of those F-16s over here?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Float over.
We'll take a spin afterwards.
I have flown that trip a few times.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I should finish on one funny story, flying over the ocean.
Sure.
So this was a 12-hour flight, the longest flight I've done in a fighter. And you're just all alone, and you're playing Trivia Pursuit, etc.
No, let me just ask you.
Yeah.
What were you flying?
F-16.
What type of fuel capacity does that have?
You can only an hour to an hour and a half. So you fly with the tanker.
Oh, and you're getting fueled in air.
Yep. So you just you hang out for 20 minutes and then you come back and you constantly refuel. So you're just constantly topping up in case something happens. You can fly to the nearest island.
Wow.
And I did have to fly to emergency land in Japan, actually in Misawa. It was cool.
Wow.
With a Canadian. But so the story is going over the ocean and you're running around, your hair's on fire, etc. And so I stepped out to this 12-hour mission with no piddle packs. You know what the piddle packs are? The UPN.
Yeah.
I had none of those. I've always carried them in my main bag. For some reason, they weren't in there. I took them out.
Oh my God, 12 hours?
12 hours, yes. And you need to drink so that you can maintain your mental capacity. Right, so, but my only option is a Gatorade bottle. Right, I had a Gatorade bottle that I bought, and this was my only container.
That never goes well.
Yes, this is my only container. So basically, I had to, chug the Gatorade. I'd waited as long as I could, Now you're thinking about it. Once I realized this, and like 2 hours in,
recycling thing going.
Yes, I realized that 2 hours in, I'm in trouble, right? Because there's no piddle packs. So then you have time to formulate a plan, So I just waited till it was like 5.5 hours. I could not take it anymore. And then pounded the Gatorade bottle, right? And then used that to pee in the Gatorade bottle.
Wow. Yeah.
But then the problem is that I just drank a whole liter of Gatorade.
So now you got to go again.
So this is one of the stories of flying.
Oh my God.
So there's a lot of funny.
You can't really open the window.
Everyone has funny pee stories. In the fighters, but amazing day. Amazing turnout. Thank you guys, everyone, for being here, for supporting, calling your Congress people, calling your senators. They have staff. The staff are engaged. I think because they've just seen so many people, thousands of people come today, and then all the podcasters. So
can I tell
amazing
the story? I don't think I've told this story on your show before.
No.
But I was flying on American Airlines. I don't know, maybe, let's see, I think it was January 2018. And the story had just come out in the New York Times on December 16th, 2017, about the Pentagon looking into the UFO, topic, looking into UFOs and Lou Elizondo and all that major news story was out there in the New York Times. So I'm flying next to a person, I've struck up a conversation with him, and he was a pilot for American Airlines, and he was deadheading, basically no uniform or anything. And so we got into a conversation, and I said, hey, so he told me he was an F-16 pilot in the Air Force. So I said, well, that's really cool. And I said, hey, did you ever hear about this? Somehow I mentioned the New York Times article and about UFOs. And he said, no, but I can tell you they're real. And so I said, "Oh, really? Do tell." So he said, "For what's the WEO weapons guy behind you? What's it called? WEO or
the WISO, Weapons System Officer.
WISO, yeah. He said he was on a 300-mile stretch or something like that. I forget how many miles it was. And the guy was snoozing in the back, and I know that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, he said all of a sudden a green orb came up behind him, and it flooded his whole cockpit, bright green, and the thing stayed behind him. And then it would pace him. It would go to the wingtip and then back behind him, back and forth, and it lit up his whole cockpit.
That reminds me of the one radio comm that I've heard from Air Force, where it says it's over my right. Or it says I'm over Station 9. It's 3 feet over Station 9, and the missile stations are numbers. You know, you have 9 hard points that can carry stuff. So it should be over his left wingtip. Essentially, is what he's saying is it's over my left wingtip. It's flying over my left wingtip. I think was in the comm that I heard. It was an AWACS communication.
And was that also green too?
I don't remember him saying describing it, but he's just talking about an object that's maintaining position 3 feet above his wingtip, his left wingtip. You know, it kind of just reminds me of that story.
So I asked him. I said, "Is there any way I could have you on my show and to talk about it?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "How about on the phone and you could remain anonymous?" He says, "I love my job too much." He says, I've been working with American Airlines. I'm a captain, and so that was it. And maybe he'd feel a little different today. I don't know.
Yeah. And that was a big issue. Grush mentioned is people coming out.
Yeah.
That's a.
And what did they say? Maybe 5. I think Ryan Graves
5%.
said 5% of the people that pilots that see something report it. So 95% do not, because of the ridicule factor, basically.
Yeah. That was an amazing day.
Yeah.
My brain is checked out. I just blanked. Just blanked.
Pretty well. Yeah.
I would say there was one question. The line was, we talked about at the beginning.
It was historical. It was at least 1,000 people.
They said 1,000 people were outside, is what I heard from Sarah.
And it continued. We were there we were there early, but it continued right until like 10 o'clock. They were there. They just kept lining up and lining up and lining up with no chance to get in, basically.
Well, cool.
They still stayed there.
Well, let us know if you see any CNN interviews.
Of Chris, they'll probably have just you, because they interviewed me.
That's what he said. I won't be on.
The deer in the headlights, and then he took over and he did tonight. He was Mr. Smooth. He was like adjusting his tie. Yeah.
Excellent. And we did hear some new cases. So I'm going to go back and review. In the moment, it's hard to even catch the details, but there was the case from Eglin about 6 objects, I think he said, floating, and they did have a video. So they did have video. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
And then they also mentioned a case, Ryan Graves talked about it, but it was what he heard of a football-sized object.
Right.
A giant red square.
Yep.
Flying in from the coast, and I hadn't heard that before.
Strange about the squares and the squares in the side of the orb type of thing. Really strange. I actually like the strange ones because they seem almost even more credible sometimes because they're so unusual.
Yeah, I mean, how do you explain that? It's a giant red square, football field size, and they did bring up the over the nuclear incidents as well, I believe, right? They brought up one incident.
I didn't catch that, but
I thought they brought up one where they just said it was hovering over a facility.
Yeah,
but they didn't mention Robert Salas. I don't remember hearing his name or any names like that.
I know he testified.
And they really didn't mention the nuclear angle at all.
Right.
There was that one point on it that I remember anyway, and then that's it. So I think they kind of made an effort just to focus on what these pilots know, and let's not go into nuclear weapons, not go into Department of Energy where it probably all is hidden. So I think it was, but a great start.
Yeah.
I think it was. You could definitely feel it was a bomb dropped in Washington. Yeah. That's what it felt like.
Yep. Great stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much to Martin. Thank you, man. It's been great.
It's been blessed.
Meeting in person.
Yeah.
It's so much help.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And check out tomorrow night. And if you haven't watched the hearing and you'd like to get it from from Chris and my perspective there in the audience, that's what you'll see.
Yeah, he's holding it like he's holding the as still as he can, and I'm trying to help him zoom. I was zooming in, so if you see some zooming in there, it's again team effort. And yeah, it was awesome. I really felt like everybody was on the same team. It really felt like it was cool.
That was great all around. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, thanks for being here. I hope to get a video out on Friday, but we'll see how the trip back goes. Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
All right.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day. Rest of the week.
Bye,
Amazing
everyone.
stuff. See you guys.
Bye.